I think the US government has two different strategies on how to control the masses, depending on the type of person you are. Either you are the type of person that does not care about what's happening in this country or are not willing to educate yourself on what's happening in this country, so the government is easily able to distract you with social media, celebrity culture, music, movies, TV shows, whatever's trending. They're just able to distract you because you don't care about anything else. Or you are someone that is paying close attention to all of the horrors, all of the atrocities, all of the injustices that our United States government is committing. And for those types of people, the government definitely has a plan. Now, I think the government's plan is to commit these atrocities at such a rate and at such an intensity that has never before been seen, that we feel entirely overwhelmed and feel like we are completely powerless. And that's exactly what they want. They either want you to feel like nothing's happening and that everything's okay, or that everything bad can be happening and you can't do anything about it.
So I feel like a lot of people are confused on like, why are so many Americans brainwashed by the American government, especially people in other countries? But when we talk about propaganda in American politics, I think it's so important that we talk about language, because the way things are worded is so intentional. The way they explain things, the way they label things, it's all to create a specific perception. No matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, we're all brainwashed. Like if I say doggy instead of canine, you're picturing two completely different things, even though it is the same thing. Now, applying that to politics, right? Right now, everything going on with Iran, notice how the news is never saying the United States just bombed Iran. It's always the United States has carried out military strikes or precision strikes. But in reality, we're talking about a large-scale military attack. Bombs are being dropped.
Yeah, that's true, because every single word is chosen exactly to make us perceive something else. You know what I mean? It's to villainize this group of people, or it's to make this group of people look better, or to make us look better, or dumb down the severity of the conflict happening. You know what I mean? It's all about the precise words that they're choosing to use in speeches and any other sorts of media that their voice is getting projected out onto their supporters.
Infrastructure is being destroyed. People are being killed. Calling it a strike sounds controlled, strategic, almost clean. But a bombing is exactly what it is. And once you start noticing it, you don't unsee it. So another example is when we talk about immigration, you'll hear things on the news like, oh, there are human rights concerns in these migrant detention centers. But what does that actually mean? Are people being mistreated? Are people dying in custody? Are families being separated? They keep it vague on purpose so that you don't feel the full weight of what is happening. Even something like the defense budget instead of military spending. Ask yourself, what are we defending? Are they attacking?
Nah, I just thought about that. They say defending, so it's not like we're just putting a bunch of money to attack other people, you know what I mean? It's to make sure that we're safe from them. But really, we're creating the danger, and we're creating the danger for other people, which also creates danger for us, which is why we need the defense money. But then, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to make us seem like the villains, you know what I mean?
Attacking Americans, because calling it defense makes it sound necessary, like we're protecting ourselves instead of projecting our military power. And this isn't random, like I said, it's intentional. So there's a concept called plausible deniability, right? Where we use language that clearly will suggest something, but if you get called out for suggesting it, they're giving you enough wiggle room to be able to deny it, right? So for example, when people say things about inner cities, they don't outright say anything racist, right? But when we talk about inner cities with a negative connotation, everybody knows they're referring to black neighborhoods and communities without saying black communities. And then when they're called out for being racist, it's like, no, I didn't say that. You said that. And that's a dog whistle. So that's how and you can see how powerful language is even in modern politics. The slogans like "Make America Great Again," it sounds positive, but it's vague on purpose because it makes people fill in their own idea of when America was great, right? Or when Trump says Sleepy Joe instead of Joe Biden, or Crooked Hillary instead of Hillary Clinton. Those aren't policies, they're branding tactics. But once you hear them enough, even if you don't know why Hillary's Crooked Hillary, that shapes how you view that individual without needing any deeper explanation. So when we call immigrants undocumented, it makes you think of paperwork. But when you call them illegal aliens, it makes you feel like they're not human. They're criminals, they're outsiders, threats. It's the same person, but it's a different reaction. And when you have phrases like the war on terror, who's going to oppose that? Because nobody wants to be on the side of terrorism. But that wording made it really easy to get Americans on board with war after 9/11 because so many people were scared. Post 9/11 propaganda had Americans associating Muslims with terrorism. And that fear made everything that we did to the Middle East feel justified. And here's the part they don't get into. They won't teach you in school about the letter to America by Osama bin Laden because it would contradict everything you've been taught about 9/11. And I'm not saying you have to agree with it, but if you actually read it, you'll understand that from Osama's perspective, the United States and Israel were the ones being labeled as terrorists. So now think about that. If Americans were taught that side.
Yeah, that's like if like only certain parts of history are shown, or like you only want to teach the next generation, the perspective that you want them to think, then that leaves such a big part of history around and just has like a huge missing part of every conflict, because you just want to portray yourself as good and them as bad. You know what I mean? And that's messed up.
Growing up, do you think that when we did our war on terror in the Middle East, we would have had the same level of support? Probably not. And that's the point, because language doesn't just tell you what's happening, it tells you how to feel about what's happening. And once the government is able to control how people feel, they don't have to lie to them anymore about what they're actually doing, right? Because people think that it's okay.
There's something so frightening about seeing all these Netanyahu and Epstein memes. Like, everybody today is so fucking robotic. Everybody's so stripped of their humanity and dissociated from reality.
Yeah, bro, what's it called? I'll be seeing like videos of people in the car and they're driving, and the someone's like driving hella slow, and they're like, Netanyahu, strike this guy down or something like that. Like, they're just making jokes about somebody in power, and it's a serious topic at the moment. You know what I mean?
This phone is fucking black magic, man. It was only a couple of decades ago when if a couple of people died in an accident, it was all over the news. Now there's stories about these massive child sex trafficking rings, genocides, surveillance states being built right in front of our eyes publicly for everybody to see. We just joke about it. We just are totally divorced from like, oh, this is actual reality. Everybody is totally immobilized by social media and by the internet. It is terrifying. All of our wants and passions and emotions have been reduced to information on a screen, readily available whenever we want. Just everything about how we live our life is so divorced from the nature of how we're built to live. And I'm talking about this solely from a internet consumption perspective. Like, I don't think we're taking this seriously enough. I don't think we really understand what the long-term effects of playing video games every day or of being on social media every day really are. We're looking to supplements, dieting, working out, all these different things. You know, there are real problems with politics going on right now. We do live in a shit system. But more than that, the biggest pressing issue of what's wrong with today's society is this disconnection everybody has. Everybody just lives in their mind with no grounding to actual reality. Everything is just information and absurdity. We have this godlike access to information and perspectives, but we still have this very human emotional system that cannot process all of this, that cannot handle it. Like, I always think about our circadian rhythm and the fact that sleep consistency is more important than sleep duration. Something as simple as seeing the sun come up and go down is so ingrained into our biology. How could we not think the same of ordinary experience and what we're meant to see on a day-to-day basis, what we're meant to feel on a day-to-day basis?
What we're meant to see and what we're meant to feel, like what we've always been meant to and what is necessary for us, but we don't get all that now. And what we see every day is something that's artificial and not actually meant for us. I think that's what he's saying.
But simultaneously, I mean, the system hijacks our reward circuit so well. It makes us feel so accomplished. It's so fucking addicting that I think a lot of people are aware of this. They just don't give a fuck. They're actually pretty comfortable living like this, so they'll just construct an entire worldview around why it's okay. Which brings me to another point about the like infantilization that everybody is going through right now. I'm going to make a part 2 about that.
Warfare or mimetic warfare is the real battle that's going
I'm not gonna lie, bro. All the TikTok comment sections used to be like filled with that like last month or 2 months ago, and like it's like everyone knows that it's a serious topic, but everyone just jokes about it. Like, and I think that is like what everybody is complaining about, where it's actually desensitization. You know what I mean?
on right now. Memes are this interesting creation that is a mix of humor and quick information that can penetrate your mind. Like going through the blood-brain barrier, memes have this way of inserting themselves into your mind as a fact, because humor reduces the wall of resistance, so then the fact or the information can plow deeper into your mind without your conscious mind holding a wall against it. So you will feel as though it's a source of authority. And then the memes will get thousands of likes, millions of likes, because they're funny. But this like percentage acts as a system of authority to assert in your mind that, oh, in fact, this is
Yeah. Like how many likes and comments it gets, that like helps to validate it as a source of information for your brain. Because then you're like, oh, why would it be false if so many people liked it and stuff? You know what I mean? So then that like verifies it in your head, I guess.
real, regardless if it's real or if it's not. Not only are these memes carrying information that's influencing your behavior, but it's also telling you what's normal, how to think and how to feel, influencing your voting patterns, influencing the way that you treat people in relationships, and it's normalizing and desensitizing you to things that would otherwise be sacred. Now we're all the way to the point where we're making jokes about Biles, we're making jokes about Charlie Kirk, and yeah, while they are funny, when you make nothing sacred, a society will never have any meaning, and no one will ever be willing to fight and die for a society with no meaning. If you have nobody that's willing to fight and die for a society and there's no meaning, you have nothing.
Yes, be the woke friend. You're not weird for thinking that the Diddy jokes are weird. You're not strange for thinking the Epstein Island jokes are weird. They're not funny. They're making fun of human trafficking and worse. Memifying stuff is normalizing it. You're desensitizing yourself to the horrors of like those travesties and other things. And when you desensitize yourself to it, you stop caring about it. And when you stop caring about it, you stop talking about it seriously. You start talking about it seriously, you stop taking action against those things. That's how the pyramid works.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Me personally, I make the jokes and I think the jokes are funny and stuff, but I am knowledgeable, or like I am conscious of it. But yeah, like these jokes, it really is just to keep us in place and to make sure that we don't do anything to like try to fix these issues or like punish those who are responsible for doing this, like, or like stepping up and acting up against them, you know what I mean? It's all just to keep us down and busy and like not really focus on what they're doing, get distracted by it and not really care. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe. Check out the next video. Have a good day, guys.